Okay, so here I am at 18, living in Ottawa, Canada. And after living in such a quiet, backward place as Anglesey Abbey was, of course it took a bit of adjusting to living in a big city. One of the nice things was that I got billeted in a private house, and it was owned by a lady called Mrs. O'Neill, and as she obviously had connections with Ireland, and she was a great personality. It was a large house, and she used to take in lodgers, and it seemed to vary in the length of time that people stayed in this house. Some people came and went quite quickly, and then others had been there for quite a number of years. And was interesting for me because I realized that I was going to be part of this family for, well, nearly 2 years. And I used to have breakfast, lunch and dinner there. And she had a large dining room, and we would be sitting all around this one large table. And I don't know how many there were now, it's difficult to remember. Probably around 10 people. So each day was different, and conversations went in many different ways. But so it was a very interesting place. I had quite a smallish room right at the very top of the house, and so that was very nice. A shared bathroom, if I remember rightly, and I kind of remember queuing up trying to get into the bathroom, especially first thing in the morning, was always a little difficult. But there we are. My job was looking after an Air Commodore, and in the end what it turned out to be that I was really looking after him and his clothes, and also having to please his wife, who was not an easy person to please. And she got me doing all the housework, and so that was kind of a new thing for me to be doing, but I took to it quite well. They used to have cocktail party evenings. It was very much a cocktail because it was part of the diplomatic corps in Canada, and he represented the Royal Air Force there. So I was often asked to help out in the evenings and to serve drinks, and Seagram's whiskey, I believe, was one of the things that was used a lot. And Seagram's themselves actually wrote to me, because I think some of their representatives must have been at a cocktail party that I was doing, and congratulated me on doing it so well. So that was kind of nice. When the Air Commodore and his wife, and there was a daughter as well, when they went away, it meant that I used to go and work in the office and amend all sort of rules and regulation books. It was a very boring kind of job, but I used to do that. And then sometimes I was loaned out to Wing Commander and did work for them as well. So it was quite varied. My social life was really great because I only worked from Monday to Friday, so I had all the weekends off. And over the period of time I got to know quite a lot of people there who were extremely extrovert and very, very lovely people. I was quite involved in a church there. I decided that I'd like to join a church, and sang in the choir there for a short period of time. And it was during this period that I really felt a calling to become a priest. But as I had no academic qualifications, it would mean that if I needed to carry on with that calling, I would have to get some A-levels and do some real studying. So that was a road that I was thinking about going down. Went so far as to go and talk with the Bishop of Ottawa, and they said that if I could get some qualification, that I could come back to Ottawa and I could go to a seminar there. In fact, I didn't do any of that, but that's another story. While I was there, a friend of mine came over to marry an American man. She used to live in the same street that I did in Ely, and she was going to be in New York changing aircrafts, and so I decided to get on a Greyhound bus, which I found great. I loved the Greyhound buses anyhow, and travelled all the way to New York on this bus, and met her when she arrived at New York. And she only had about 2 or 3 hours, but I thought it was a great thing to arrive and for her to see a face that she knew. So, and she really appreciated that, and that was a kind of a high point, something that I really remember, meeting her. And I stayed at Forest Hills or somewhere like that, near where all the tennis place is, and went into New York and did all the usual things in New York. When I had leave, I was quite lucky because I met a woman who used to go and stay in the Adirondacks, and she recommended a hotel that I went and stayed at, and met lots of really nice people there. I have to say the Canadians, like the Americans, are very open and willing to talk and to share their lives with people. There was one couple who drove me to Niagara Falls and took me around there and took me out to lunch, and they didn't know me, you know. It was amazing that they did that, but that was really part of my experiences of living there and enjoying my time there. I did have a girlfriend there at one time, and went to her graduation. I have a photograph of us at this graduation ball, I suppose they call it, and it rather looks as if we just about got married, but I assure you I didn't get married. But she was a great girl, and we had the idea that I would come back and maybe pursue a relationship, but that didn't actually happen. So I managed to get into a lot of people's private homes, and so really was very much part of other people's lives, and that for me was the key of being in Canada, was to be with other people and to share their lives, and really it was a wonderful experience for me. So after nearly 2 years, it was time for me to leave Canada and then go back to the UK. Oh, the way that I went back to the UK was great, because I went on a boat, and it was one of the Empress lines. I think it was Empress of Britain that I went back on. Was a bit sick on the way. As you can gather, I'm not a particularly good traveller, so but it was a great experience, and again met lots of really lovely people. So here I am, going on my way back home, and I'll talk about that experience next time. Bye now.